How's it going, everybody? I'm Eric.
I'm Chandler.
And I am Brady.
This new episode celebrates our 1-year anniversary of our show. I'd like to thank everybody who tunes in on our YouTube channel to listen to us. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you for all of those likes and even the dislikes, but we know who you are.
And we will send Angel K's to your house.
So this week's movie is going to be Lord of War with Nicolas Cage.
Man, oh man. The scale of acting in this film, the fucking far and near end of the spectrum. Like, Nick Cage will come out and wow you 1 second and then have you going, what the fuck is he doing the next?
Like, on the Cage spectrum, I want to put him extremely mild.
Is that a new spectrum we're going with?
Yeah, Cage has a whole line of whatever. He has on the far end, the worst, and he's boring, not even trying to make a scene or act up or anything. On the far end, he's legitimately crazy, probably sociopathic. In this movie, yes, I mean in this movie, he's good, but he's not doing anything over the top or anything. Okay. He's not the Cage everybody loves to see, but he's also not doing anything bad.
Okay, here's what makes Nicolas Cage good and not average or lukewarm or milquetoast in this. The fucking dialogue. The dialogue in this movie is fucking legit. Alright, I'd never seen this movie before, but man, there's some good, just one or two line, not spoken to each other, but just I don't know what I'm saying. The dialogue's fucking good.
He was the Cage we all knew, but not the Cage that we deserved.
But that's a credit to the writing. That's a credit to the writing, not so much the acting. So,
I guess so.
Good for you.
I feel like some of the detriment to the acting in this movie, both good and bad, has to do with the narration. I feel like this movie relies way too much on it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't give the movie enough time to breathe emotionally. As a person, we know what to feel at certain times, but I feel like he interjected a little too often with whatever was just happening, we hadn't already seen it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like maybe that was there because there would be some scenes and you could tell that, Nicolas Cage is doing his thing. He's explaining things, exposition dump, whatever, and he's saying his little bits. And then it'll cut to someone else doing their thing, and Nick Cage narration will come in. I think that's because he needed to get more of that exposition out, but then the Cageometer filled up way too high, and they can't use that shit. Just have him narrate it.
You got the poor guy in the engine room just tapping little valves, oh my god, it's in the red, it's in the red.
He bangs it two little clanks, clink clink, and it drops from the red just to the orange, and they're like, phew.
Yeah. Almost had a meltdown there.
Crisis averted.
Yeah. it's got a number of days since the Cage related accident.
Oh, what's the matter, Yuri? The guns in my eyes. Photoshop guns all around his chin.
Yeah. But basically, this movie is based on a true story about this gun runner in the late 80s and early 90s, where he rose to this crazy prolific status in the world. But just shoveling all this post-Soviet weaponry across the globe. Honestly,
I don't even understand. I just watched this. I don't even really understand how he rose so quickly to be such a lord.
Well, a mobster get killed, and he was like, "Hey, yo, Junkie Leto, brothers in arms, sup?" And he was like, "Let's boo it." And Bilbo Baggins was there.
Yeah, every time he's in my notes as Bilbo Baggins.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Bilbo.
Just to give you an idea, the opening scene of this, honestly pretty neat. You see a suited up Nick Cage in a field of bullets, just emptied bullet shells. And he has a little monologue thing that he says there, talking about firearms, what have you.
Yeah, he says something really cool, there's X and X amount of weapons in the world right now. That's one for every 10 people in the world or whatever. And my question is, how do I arm the other 9 or something like that?
Yeah, it's a really cool line. You're like, this fucking guy.
Yeah, it seems slick but also cold at the same time. So it's
very
pretty good.
Yeah. And then it kicks into Buffalo Springfield's For What It's Worth. Classic war song, right?
Yeah, there's something happening here.
and that something is the life of a bullet.
I like that.
just,
I like the way you phrase that. We spoke about this movie before. Referring to it as the life of a bullet's really nice. I appreciate that.
Just a bullet factory making some Lake City quiet pills.
Look it up, kids.
No, you should.
So we get the life of a bullet. You know, it's there, it's in the stamping plant, it's on the assembly line, it gets inspected, it gets boxed, it gets shipped. And all this time it's like a POV, like someone had put the camera on the back of this one, 7.62 round. And it finds its way into a magazine, and you hear ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And finally, its turn is up in the barrel. Pow! It comes firing out right into the head of like a child soldier, and it's like, holy shit!
It's
and
very corn freak on a leash. I'll let you know that.
Okay.
Good lord. But it sets the tone pretty perfectly.
Yes, and if that's not enough, you get like an immediate Christ imagery of a dock. It's like, big cross dock. Mm-hmm.
Almost like a little bit at the in-betweens of like a Requiem for a Dream when they're at the dock running at it or whatever.
God, dock symbology with Jared fucking Leto.
I don't know what it
Comes
is.
full circle.
Just like the corneas in your eyes.
Oh, pickle, pickle.
Yeah.
Pupil.
I'll just cut.
The character portrayed by Nicolas Cage is called Yuri something or another unimportant.
Yuri last.
Yeah, insert last name. He gets like this little exposition bit where he starts talking about how this, that, and the other. This is like the big setup that doesn't pay off until literally halfway through the film. He tells you that he's obsessed with Miss Long Island, 1982.
Eva Fontaine, and she is a looker.
I don't know what it is. She just looks like my English teacher, like she would be.
Well, your English teacher, is she single? Because give me the hookup.
She's single and you're ready to Pringle, right?
Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
There you go.
They start talking about how they immigrated here from somewhere overseas. I'm sure they explained. I didn't really pay it.
From the Ukraine.
Ukraine.
At the time, it was the Soviet Union. They pretended to be Jewish to escape the Soviet Union to move to Brooklyn.
Yep. But they're not Jewish, but they opened up a shop where they sell borscht.
Yeah, like a Jewish restaurant in Little Odessa,
Yeah.
which I didn't know was a thing.
I mean, I guess so. But apparently it's like the perfect place to hide because there's so much crime happening outside, like a murder every 5 minutes, that you could just pretty much just kind of duck and cover and not be seen by anybody.
There is literally, he discovers that he wants to be a gun runner. You're talking like there's a murder on every fucking street corner. Literally, he walks next door to a shootout.
He had this like little bit of monologue where he's like, man, I had the worst or best luck. I'm either 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late for a shootout somewhere.
But not this time. I was there. And boy, oh boy, do we need to figure out what type of wood these guys are using in their tables, because 2 guys unload into a dining room table and can't punch through it. Not with a single fucking round. The guy pops out on the other side. Not a scratch. Not a fucking scratch. And guns these 2 fellas down.
I had a pretty good look at it. And it looked like a metal table underneath or whatever. I feel like he saw this coming. Because like the rest of the room was like kind of unpopulated. And he was kind of waiting on it. So maybe it was all just kind of like a, I don't know. What do you call that? Like somebody tries to ambush you, but you're like ready. It was like a double ambush. I don't know.
Oh,
Surprise.
God, someone call an ambulance. But not for me.
Yes.
Yes. Beautiful.
Bravo. So he is pushing the idea that he wants to be a gun runner, and he gets his first 2 guns. And I thought this was such a good scene. He's trying to sell the Uzi 9mm, and these guys walk in. He's like, oh, it's got this, that. And he's giving them like a manufacturer's rundown of every statistic on this gun.
Yeah, he's like a fucking vacuum salesman.
I just want guns, and they just kind of take it, hand him some money, and leave.
The guy was even like flipping through like a little instructional booklet that came with it beforehand, so he can brush up on all his info.
Yeah, like I just want to, what kind of gun salesman is really like, this gun does this. I've bought guns, and the guy at the counter is like, it's a whatever caliber.
I feel like Nick Cage just tried to be like that mentor with the jacket over his shoulders, like, so, you bought yourself an Uzi 9mm. Well,
He was on the fucking instructional video.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nick Cage. Welcome to Uzi 9mm.
Yeah.
But I guess his idea is you go to restaurants because everybody has to eat. I guess everybody's got to shoot too. Yeah, I guess he's just thinking, it's a business that's always going to be around, right?
I mean, it's a pretty good business idea. It's kind of like going into the funeral business or something like that.
What is it? I feel like it's like a Megadeth lyric or something like, killing is my business and business is good.
Yeah.
I like it. So, he doesn't want to do this alone. So what does he do? He goes and grab up his brother, Junkie Leto, pre-junkie, and they become the Borscht Bros, gun sales.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he a junkie yet?
I don't know what it is with like Jared Leto sneaking into my movies. For like, I guess 20 some years of my life, it never occurred to me that he was like a prolific actor or anything, and suddenly he's just everywhere.
Yeah, this is our second Leto film in a row, really.
I mean, he's in the background of this one.
I'm gonna put like Leto on the far end of the acting spectrum, because I feel like there are scenes where Nick Cage, he's not quite phoning it in, but he's not really doing anything with the material. And Leto is just like, every scene that he's in, he's just like 100% just trying something. He's just, I don't know if it's overacting or if he's just like, that's him just trying to fucking grab that Oscar by the balls.
I feel like it's really, like, he's truly committing. He feels like he's doing the right thing with the character. There's a scene way later in the movie, it doesn't credit being discussed further than this little toss-in, but he's high as fuck. And he's like, I love you all, and he throws himself into the Christmas tree. It's Tommy Wiseau level fucking bad.
It gets a little wacky, especially, there's a little bit later on where they kind of get into this cocaine fiasco, and he becomes kind of hooked on it. And for some reason, Nick Cage just has this like little pill bottle filled with like just the tiniest bit of coke. And he just like, Jared Leto turns into like a little puppy, and he's like, come on, man, just like, you got it for me? And Nick Cage is like, fine.
Okay.
Can I have a treat? Can I have a treat, please? Can I have a treat?
Yeah.
I have a hashtag for that. It's called hashtag Force Snorts and Rehab.
Oh, that's a new band right there.
Man, there are so many good band names, album names, just name dropped in this. Like, I need to go through here and start a band.
My glam metal band name, this is in my actual notes, they're smuggling things later. It's called Cocaine and Bullet Wounds.
Ooh.
All right.
Sounds like a dirty cop show.
No.
Get at us, Vince Neil.
Oh, no. So, like, Nick Cage and Jared Leto are just, like, they're trying to be brothers, whatever. They're Nick Cage and Jared Leto, and Nick Cage has this wacky idea. Hey, let's just sell guns for a living. They'll never go out of business. What are we doing in this fucking Borscht place? Brothers in arms. Let's just get to it. And somehow they wiggle their way into, like, one of the most prolific gun-running places in the entire world, where, like, all the black market and evil people go to just kind of, like, shop armory till they drop.
Yeah, they show up at a fucking arm fair full of gun bunnies.
This is the 1983 Berlin Arms Fair, which I don't know if this was a real thing. Is this a real thing?
I don't know. It's legitimately like one checkout lane away from a Walmart.
Is this East Berlin or West Berlin?
It's like Sam's. You get it in bulk.
All right. Gotta buy by the, what was it? The ton or something?
Kilo.
Yeah, evidently.
But the movie kind of cuts there. I know this is based on a true story, but he somehow just like managed to go from one Uzi 9mm into standing in this gun show with a giant, what do they call this?
Yeah, they're just standing in the middle of these fucking Russian jets and tanks with fucking scantily clad camo dancers just like shaking their asses all over them.
Gun bunnies.
Gun bunnies? All right.
Okay.
That is the proper term.
And they're there, I guess, to meet or to try and meet, I guess, the big arms dealer in the world guy. Like, this big, it's Bilbo Baggins, but, fucking, he's like, what's the word?
A number
There's a
one.
word I'm looking for.
Duke of New York.
Well, Nick Cage is still in his, like, honeymoon era of gun running, so he just thinks, like, everybody's just there to help him. But turns out Bilbo's a bit of a dildo because he turns his offer down pretty much immediately and tells him to fuck off.
Yeah, he gives him like a evil little diss, but that doesn't, dissuade Nick Cage. Nope, Instead, see that they celebrate by going and having sex with the gun bunnies. But Nick Cage, he's more interested in watching, all the shit in Lebanon go crazy so he can sell a whole fuck ton of guns.
I mean, he is, but he still gets his nut.
True.
Nut.
Blood nut?
Oh,
Can we bring back Blood Nut?
Always.
All right.
Just for you. I was kind of thinking like how they got them just to go with that or whatever. Like they're these complete strangers, totally obscure from the rest of the crowd in this place, and they just somehow just like got with these women.
Yeah, they're like, well, we're not very good at what we do. Hey, you two, what are you? We're highly paid supermodels that dance on top of tanks for cash.
Okay, realistically, Jared Leto, like everybody else in that building, is probably like 60 and older. Because they're old, like, rich white politicians, or whatever they are. Jared Leto is probably the most attractive person in that building, so, whatever.
I bet he just, like, immediately threw in, like, man, I was an American Psycho.
Oh.
I was Jordan fucking Catalano, dudes.
Sounds like a car.
So, they go to this place, I think it's in Lebanon, maybe, Afghanistan, it's hard to tell. And there's literally piles of guns, and he's selling them not by each individual one, but by weight. He's selling these fucking things in bulk. And he explains that it's cheaper for people just to buy new ones instead of shipping the ones they used back home. So he's selling all the leftovers.
Yeah, they were talking about whenever America leaves like a war zone, they just leave their guns behind because it's too expensive to take everything with them. They'll just buy more.
All this free real estate.
And so he's like, I'll scoop it up and sell the shit. But he's kind of having to give the military a much bigger cut than he wants to. So he's like, this is bullshit money. We need to get more. And Jared Leto's like, well, how do we do that? Go legit? And he goes, no, we go more illegal.
Go so underground but still in the public eye that, like, there's nothing you can do if, like, the ATF gets a hold of you.
And, like, just as we're exiting this scene, you see a group of kids that are about to be executed. And Jared Leto, which is, I guess, like, the moral oral, I'll say that, the moral oral of the two brothers, he's like, he's got his gun hiding back there, like he's going to do something about it. And Nick's just like, that's not our fight, let's go, let's get the fuck out of here. The dichotomy that you see from here on out.
I mean, at this moment, I don't know if it kind of total about myself, because I was just on Nick Cage's side. I was like, don't worry about it. Just that's not our thing. We're here for business only.
Oh, like you're clearly already a bad guy. You know what these guns are going to be used for. You have made the decision.
Well, in that situation, it's all about self-preservation. If you start, shooting up some people that are about to execute a village, you're gonna die. They have more guns than you at this point.
Yeah, there were like 20 with assault rifles, and this guy's sitting there with one fucking pistol. Like, no.
Choose your battles. Choose your battles.
This was a catalyst to where this event is the reason why he turned into a junkie for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. To escape the pain of seeing children get slaughtered.
But he didn't really see that happen. Like, he had already been tackled by that point to get out of the way.
It'd be one of those things. Like the Kessel Run. It's better, better in the imagination, so it probably tore him up because you can just picture all the fucked up shit.
This next scene's actually one of my favorite in the whole movie. It's when they're on that the big transporter ship.
Yes.
He's talking about how he was able to operate around all of these arms embargoes that were going on during the Cold War. You see him, like, the ship that they're on, they're about to get intercepted by Interpol, and they're flying a Panama flag, and it's just a real fun scene. You see the whole crew go out there and, like, paint over the name on the ship with a new name, and they're like, put out the Dutch flag, put out the Dutch flag. We don't have a Dutch flag.
Yeah, local vexologist Jared Leto saves the day with a sideways French flag.
My dude.
I mean, this whole thing tells a lot about what kind of shit they got into, because this is the first little tidbit that you get to understand that Nick Cage has made friends of other people's enemies. And that was the phone call that he made, is to someone who has a catalog, a list of ships with different names and same descriptions, so they can just like jump over the side of the boat, change the name real fast, and they just be clean.
Even though Interpol agent Ethan Hawke knows he's not, but he's that red cop that won't break the law to get the bad guy.
I could not get this man out of my head. Like, Ethan Hawke is doing his best Christian Bale impression.
Dude, yes.
Good lord, he is... I don't know, man.
It's of that, and fucking, what's his name that pretends to be Christian Slater. Yeah. Ethan Hawke is Christian Slater in Lord of War.
I definitely got a lot more Christian Slater than whoever you just said.
I don't know, just like every time he was on screen, I was just like, dude, that's Christian Bale's John Connor.
Christian Bale, yeah. But this scene to me just kind of had like a fucking Life Aquatic, like a Wes Anderson vibe to it to me. It was almost comical.
Yeah, but this one was a little bit. Yeah, this one was a little bit more angry, whereas Wes Anderson would just be a lot more. I don't know.
Well, like if Nick Cage is Bill Murray, like you can just see him like, all right, put that flag up sideways. It's a Dutch flag now. Everybody look innocent now.
Yeah.
What are you coming to expect? I got all these rotten potatoes. It was just an entertaining scene for me.
Then Jeff Goldblum in a belly t-shirt just rolls up on him.
I'm a pepper. He's just in the potatoes.
Yeah.
There's radioactive waste too. You wanna check that out too?
Oh man, Jeff Goldblum is the WMD.
Dang. Now, the payoff for this scene is they're delivering goods to a dictator or some shit, and he pays them in, cocaine.
That's cocaine for us Americans.
Yeah.
Cocainum.
And this scene blew my fucking mind. He's like, I can't, have them deposit this in Chase Manhattan. And the guy's just like, bam, and shoots him. Just like, fuck you.
Like, all right, I guess we have a deal. I'll just take my cocaine and my life.
Yeah. It's like, you win, man. You got me.
We have 6 kilos of cocaine here. And fucking Jared Leto's just like, what are you going to do with those 5 kilos of cocaine?
Yeah.
But just a wee bit back, it's just that whole thing reminded me of like the Black Knight from Monty Python. Like after he got his limbs chopped off, he's like, okay, call it a draw.
Bam! All right. Well, I guess I'll be taking my cocaine and leaving.
Yeah, just kind of stepping away.
It's not the last time that happens in this film. Like the ending is very similar to this bit, and it kind of blew my mind that Nick Cage as this arms dealer gets away with so much. Like these people are so willing not to kill him.
It's just that charisma. I don't know what it is. Rolled a 20.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm really wanting this movie to be remade by Wes Anderson with Bill Murray in his spot. That's all I'm thinking about now.
I don't know if I can get behind a bunch of wacky gun smugglers.
Didn't they already make that movie with the guy that was fat and then wasn't fat?
Jared from Subway?
Hangs out with James Franco and them.
Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking of.
Fuck, what is his name? The guy looks like a pear.
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, yeah. My brain was going Joe Jonah Jameson. I was like, no! Spider-Man!
By the way, that's Academy Award nominee Jonah Hill to you.
Yeah, whatever. What a smug bastard. Look up that picture of him dropping his coffee. There you go. I'll put him in his place.
He's like, eh! So
anyway, this is how Jared Leto's character becomes a coke fiend.
Nick Cage puts all his extra cocaine, as you do, in little coffee containers so they can be easily shipped somewhere. And he realizes there's a brick missing. Also, his brother's missing. What a coincidence.
I wonder where he is. He's probably in Bolivia at a fucking whorehouse.
Snorting all the cocaine in the shape of the Ukraine.
He was snorting a cocaine.
Beautiful. But the thing is, he would have been dead before he ever reached Kiev.
Then Nick Cage just dusts everything off this table, and Jared Leto is absolutely ruined about this. He says, "Fuck you, you fucking fuck." That really takes me back to high school.
That's where we get the literal #floor snort. He drops to the floor. Starts to just fucking snorting the cocaine out of the rug.
Jesus.
Next thing you know, Nick's taking him back home or back somewhere. I don't even know where he's going. Probably home.
He roll up to like the Betty Ford clinic for cocaine abusers, and he's just like, "I don't want to go, man."
She's like, "Get out!"
Right before he gets out.
Get out.
Yeah, right before he gets out, he's like, "Come on, man, please." And Nick drops a little Coke for him on the backseat of the car, and he's like, "You're a great brother."
Just a little fucking Scooby snack.
But it's in like this like ridiculously small container. Like he just smashed a Tic Tac for him.
Yeah.
I think Jared Leto's character in this can be Adrian Brody in the Wes Anderson adaptation. He's got the nose for it.
Oh, there it is.
But then we get Nick Cage explaining that he still longs for Miss Long Island, and he spent $32,000 just to chill with her.
He almost went broke trying to just finagle his way into her panties.
Yeah, I guess he spent $20,000 to book a fake photo shoot with her in this hotel, and then a bunch more money to completely book out the hotel so they're the only ones there in, St. Bart's or somewhere in the Caribbean?
Yeah. And this is where you get your first real taste of that just bad Nicolas Cage acting.
Yeah, he's trying to be suave and just kind of like, and it just comes off as weird. Kind of like the guy who stares at you a little too long at the Wendy's. It's like,
definitely a little creepy.
I'm here for a photo shoot. Why don't I take your picture? Huh? And he makes that fucking stupid face, and he's just like, yeah. Oh yeah, that's
a $65 Canon fucking camera here. Why don't I do? Like, I have actually seen that in porn. That's something that, like, come on, man, come on.
So they schmoz, and he has to talk her into this with his fake jet and all this other bullshit. He's like, I'm in the transport business, and I was like, you know what? That's not as slick as distribution, like in Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know about Nick Cage's personal life, but I think he was very attracted to this woman in real life, because after they deliver the "it's fake" bullshit line, and they're supposed to kiss, man, he fucking eats this lady's face off.
Oh my god. At least he didn't fucking molest her like that poor lady on a plane in Face Off.
Ugh. Or that poor girl in the fucking choir. Butt grab.
Oh.
Now, we immediately go from eating her face on the jet, cut to the wedding.
Yep, they're just married now.
Did anyone else understand why the two of them were standing on a balcony? And it's like, it's a beautiful view. And then everyone's clapping? I was like, what the fuck just happened?
They just have to show some celebration, and an actual wedding procession is just way too fucking boring.
Yeah. She knows her man's a liar, and then Junkie Leto shows up to break up the... He's got a schmoz in. He's like, oh, here I am. I'm all fucked up. Meh.
Yeah, here's my new girlfriend. She's named after a candy or something. Here's Mars Bar. I don't know.
No, Angel. Her name's Angel. Let's put her on top of the Christmas tree.
She's a fairy named Angel.
Oh, that's right. His girlfriends have stripper names. My bad.
And then, boom, cut to Nick Cage having a kid. His kid's walking, but he could give a shit less because the Cold War is over.
The Cold War is over. The Soviet Union is over. You can fucking sell guns to anybody you fucking want.
I like how it's like, honey, your son's walking. He's busy making out with Gorbachev's birthmark.
Yeah.
He's like, oh. And we get, Junkie Leto dropped off at rehab number 2 and his bye-bye bump.
At this point, I'm just like, whatever. This is like a trope, like a Jared Leto trope or something.
He knows the staff by name, and I thought that was kind of funny as they opened the door. He's like, hey, Gerald. So, Soviet Union is no more. So Nicolas Cage returns there to get these guns to sell them. Well, he has family there. Who's his family, you might ask? Well, General Drunkenness, that's who.
You leave General Drunksky out of this, okay?
He was
just like
General Smirnoff?
Yeah.
But he's like I don't know, he was just like a cute old general. He's like, man, I got nothing left, and this nephew or whatever from America's over here just giving me money. Now I'm living the high life. What could go wrong?
He's like an assistant manager whose general manager just got fired and they haven't picked a replacement yet. So he's just like, I don't know, the old boss wouldn't let us do that. Well, what are you going to do now? I guess I'll do that.
And then he lets Nick Cage take his everything.
40,000 guns you got there. Well, I think you actually only have 10,000 guns. You're running low. You should order more.
While the USSR or previous USSR is kind of picking up the pieces or whatever. Like, whatever can slip through the loopholes of the law, just go ahead and just take whatever.
Yeah, he's in the Ukraine now, and Ukraine, I guess, doesn't have any kind of government set up. So it's just like kind of chaos within the fucking...
Yeah, so Bilbo Baggins shows up wanting a slice of the pie. But he's a little late because General Drunkenness might be a lush, but he's a loyal lush.
Yeah. Tells him to take a hike, and he gets Bilbo gets all pissy and gets back into his roles.
Yep, but then he goes out to dinner with Nick Cage. Yeah, you get some stupid fucking bit about, he's like, oh yeah, I got a cannon for the waitress. Man, it's just like, stop!
That's Nick Cage trying to act. Like, hey Nick, can you do something for today? I gotcha. And that's just what it comes out.
No, he's so cold through all of this movie. That's like his one little drop of humanity in there. But the drop of humanity is like scumbag humanity.
It's just going straight back to his role in fucking, what is it?
8mm?
Oh god.
Yeah, but Nick Cage is trying to act like he's too good for the fucking bearer of the One Ring. Doesn't he know?
Yeah, but Nick Cage is pretty much like, yeah, you're the amateur. I'm the captain now. Bye.
Looks him right in the eye.
Look at me. I am the captain now.
Well, Captain Cage leaves the little dinner or soiree or whatever, but not just before Bilbo's like, hey, listen. It's like, that's the thing about going to war with another gun runner, is that there's no lack of ammunition.
Yeah.
The next scene is another one that I think this perfectly translates to a Wes Anderson film. I keep going back to it, but it's...
Yeah, every time the cops are about to get him, it's always like a fun little bit.
It is, like, the fucking Interpol's coming. It's like, why didn't you tell me Interpol's coming? You keep selling my helicopters. You're too greedy. Well, this isn't a military helicopter. This is a rescue helicopter now. Somebody get me some paint.
Yeah, and it's like quirky.
It's like, what's his name from Sixth Sense?
Oh yeah, I thought that was Haley Joel Osment. He's like a whiz at taking the helicopters apart. Yeah. There's like, he's like, no problem, boss. And he immediately like demilitarizes the helicopter in like 5 minutes.
And this is like such a weird scene because Interpol storms in. There's like 6 Interpol agents. That's it, 6 dudes. And they're literally storming into a Russian fucking military base, fully staffed with soldiers, and they're pointing and whatever, and they're all yelling. And General Drunkenness is standing in the background. His eyes are all wide. It's like, who the fuck? What?
I gave like Ethan Hawke shit for just basically being like Christian Bale light, but like his character has some balls. Like he walks up to like this huge black Ukrainian guy screaming at him. It's like, get that fucking thing out of my face. Let me in there right now.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be like the good cop, but he goes and points a loaded fucking gun against Nicolas Cage's head.
I like this. This is funny. All right, they're trying to get Nicolas Cage for like gun running or whatever. Nicolas Cage is just like, I don't do anything illegal. They point a fucking MP5 into his cheek, and he's like, "You want a silencer for that? I can hook you up."
Well, he's read the manual. He knows what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta study your goods. And he's like, one of these days, Pink Panther, I'm gonna get you, grrr.
Then he's like, exit stage right, Ethan.
Yeah.
Like, I think you'll know by international law, when shipped separately, my cargo complies with all the good stuff. Thank God we live in a world where suspicion alone isn't enough to have me arrested, and then we have men like you to uphold the law. You know, he's really smooth talking with things like that. And Ethan Hawke's just like,
yeah,
grumble.
Those little bits where he's just having those like little stealthy fuck yous in his conversation between he and Ethan Hawke are just always really good.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Bill Murray saying all that? Because I can.
No, he'd be like more like, "Hey, tough break, kid. If I ship you separately, it's not against the law."
Yeah, and then he would like sit down and had a groundhog pop up in his lap.
Jeep.
And then, quick cut to General Drunkenness, telling Bilbo Baggins he's not going to sell to him. I told him go have intercourse with himself. I feel like the most man alive.
Oh my god. I know that it was trying to like ham it up. I was like, man, he is way too happy. What's going to happen to this poor old guy?
Oh, dude, yeah, they foreshadow hard in this film.
But okay, how in the world did they like rig his car up in front of that man?
The IRA, man. They got their ways.
Good lord.
So he gets in, he explodes, and Nicolas Cage is standing there taking in that new car bomb smell.
Yeah, he did not react, like a negative reaction. He's just like, oh man, one of my greatest connections and family members was just vaporized in front of me. And he's just like, huh.
Yeah. I mean, he has to phone home about it, and then we get some more exposition about, $32 billion in, military goods is stolen from the Ukraine alone. Gone in 60 seconds.
Oh.
One of the greatest heists of the 20th century. Yeah, so with all the hustle and bustle in Ukraine kind of like dried up or blown up at this point, so he decides to do most of his business in Africa now. There's always some kind of war going on, and I guess the white man's war is where that's newsworthy. Anything in Africa, nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah, he's going to do some business in Liberia. I don't even know who he's on his way to see there, but the dictator's son pulls up with a fucking gold AK listening to what I can only assume is like Body Count by from Ice-T. Like, that's what it sounds like to me.
K bitch, love it when she fuck me, yo. Ah.
And he's like, my father would like to see you. And he's like, well, maybe later. It wasn't a request.
Yeah, that's Baptiste Jr.
Yeah. And after his schedule frees up, he pops a squat between the two Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders in the back of his car.
Yeah. But, that's what you get after you unlock the gold AK. You get enough headshots, you unlock gold, and then you get some more on top of that, you get Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. The fun part about this is the man who plays Baptiste does an amazing job. He is definitely the highlight, for me, acting-wise, of this film. He notices that his son's Dallas Cowboy cheerleader is dancing with one of the other guards. And he just takes a fucking loaded .357 that Nick Cage is showing him and boom, shoots the fucking guy.
He blames NTV.
He does.
I have to agree with you. This character, this Baptiste Sr. whatever, he's an evil guy, clearly a sociopath, but he knows that there's something in Nick Cage that he can't live without.
Like at this point, to me, this movie turns into The Last King of Scotland. It's a white dude who is relatively normal, who just buddies up with like an African dictator.
But he's like, "What are you doing?" And the guy's like, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" He goes, "I can't sell a used gun. You're gonna have to buy it now." And he's just like, "Used gun. I like this." They say I prepare for a bath of blood. He's like, it's a bloodbath. And he goes, thank you, but I prefer it my way. I fucking love that.
Yeah, he's so exacting. Like, for some reason, he just embodies that just like evil dictator spirit.
Yeah, him and the way he gives that delivery and that line alone kind of reminds me of Unforgiven. Whenever Gene Hackman's character is like, he's like, oh, it's Duke. And he just looks at him and kind of like puts his hand on his gun and he's like, duck, I says. It's just like, all right, man.
After this, the next scene we have is you've got the son dropping Nick Cage off at his hotel, which is a complete shithole, by the way. And he's like, hey, can you give me the gun of Rambo? Part 1, 2, or 3. I've only seen part 1.
He's like, oh, that's the M60, yada, 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 yada. And he just has like a gungasm right in front of him. Just,
I don't know, I just thought it was funny.
Talking about a gungasm, there's a fucking kid standing on a street corner with an AK made from clothes hangers used in abortions.
Oh god. Well, that means it's already got a kill count and they weren't even born.
Exactly.
Oh.
Damn, man. That's how you get those Harriers.
Starting out with 3 kills.
But like Nick Cage gets dropped off at this 2-star hotel, but he goes to his room and like those 2 Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders are just waiting on him. He's got a couple of just like hooers just hanging out in his room.
Wait, are those the same girls?
I thought so.
I just thought they were another like random couple of sluts.
I thought they were the same women.
They very well could be. All sluts look the same.
I love playing the slots.
But the main thing we need to take away here is we get Glory Box by Portishead, which is a fucking banger. It's one of the sexiest songs alive. You know what you're getting into. You're getting into a couple of sluts and no condom in sight.
This is supposed to be Baptiste's idea of a sick joke. You know, he can't touch these amazing looking women. But then I was immediately like, well, that's if you have no imagination, you can't. But they can touch each other, and you're right there. So, you know.
I mean, they both got mouths, right? I mean...
Let's just have like a moment of silence so Chandler can Google whether or not you can catch AIDS from a mouth.
No, you can't...
The worst thing is, Nick Cage almost bites on this.
Oh, I bet he does.
He's like, we really got out of that one. I'd be like, no, get the fuck out of here. I don't want AIDS.
They're like, don't worry, we don't have anything.
Like,
do we look like we have something? And he's
For
like,
a second.
No, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Yeah, he's like, we'll do anything. He's like, anything? They're like, yeah. Then get out of my room.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
After that, he needs some time to himself.
So then it's time to get paid, and he gets paid in blood diamonds or conflict diamonds.
Yeah, it's either timber or stones, and he's just like, I'll take the stones.
And he's thinking like, I know these are really bad, and it might make Leonardo DiCaprio cry, but money.
And this is where we get the name of the movie. While he's sitting there having this conversation, like, they call me the Lord of War, but perhaps it is you.
Then he goes, it's actually called a warlord. He goes, thank you, but I prefer it.
Funny people. One convenient locations.
Arise chicken. Arise chicken, arise.
Yeah.
Get with me after this.
And the next big thing that we have is we have Mazzy Star with Fade Into You. By the way, have I mentioned this soundtrack is fucking fantastic?
Oh, it's very good. Like, even the original soundtrack stuff by, I forget his name, but he's a great guitarist. Has just, like, really cold, somber, just sad feel.
Now,
that's my shit. But while while Mazzy Star is doing their thing, Ava, I guess, has dropped out of modeling. She can't get any jobs. She started painting. Because what else are you going to do?
Good
and
for
too
her.
bad she sucks at that, too.
Yep, but she's selling a painting to some unknown dignitary from somewhere else. It's just Nick Cage buying his wife's trashy fucking art.
I love how he just, like, pulls up to the gallery, just, like, throws some money out the window, just put it in the trunk.
Yeah, just whatever. Which one? It doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine Donald Trump buying anything. Just like
his wife?
Pulling up with a limousine, backseat of a limousine, just sliding like $600 out of the window, put the Big Mac in the trunk. Just put it in the trunk.
Now we're trying to, identify with Nick Cage at this point because he's like, I guess I love my family now. Maybe I like them. My son's got a toy gun. I'm gonna throw it in the trash. Jared Leto's there looking like fucking Morbius.
He has a new lady this time. This lady's name is Candy.
Oh, that's where I got it from. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. As soon as she walks in the door, Nick Cage immediately hands her money and shoves her back out the door.
I will pay you to not be here.
Bitches.
Exactly. Bitches leave. Guns, guns, guns.
But we have a little conversation here between Nick Cage and his brother Jared Leto, and we figure out. I mean, we kind of knew, but Ava doesn't actually know what Nick Cage does. Keeps business private.
I think she assumed, like, given how much money that he'd been throwing around, maybe he was some kind of like mafia dude or something. He's just like, just hush hush, let me have the life that I wanted and have this kid. Whatever.
I thought you sold drugs, baby, not guns.
Yeah. You destroy lives. Drugs create.
Destruction of lives. But this is a funny bit that comes up. He's sitting there, and he's trying to figure out who his next big sell is. Who I'm going to sell these guns to. And the people, he's like, what? Peace talks? God damn it! Then I'll sell them to the Bolgans. At least when they say they're going to have a war, they keep their word.
And that's a fucking Bill Murray line. I want to hear Bill Murray deliver that line. That's perfect.
Baby, there's men going through our trash. Don't worry about it, sweetie. And they got all the fucking paper shreddings, and Ethan Hawke is like some kind of goddamn savant and puts it together in like an instant.
Yeah, it's very CSI, where like, hey, he has nothing, basically no evidence. But through this probably 50-gallon trash can, he sifted out perfectly one whole sheet of paper with all the information he needs to indict him.
Not only is it the one sheet that he needs, it's exactly where he's going and exactly the right time. It's not one from a week, ago or a month ago or a year ago. It's the one for right now, this very instant.
Yeah.
And the next thing that we see is Ethan Hawke's fucking airplane pulling up right beside Nick Cage's airplane in the middle of fucking West Africa. It's like, how'd you get here? Fancy seeing you.
I mean, it made me giggle a little bit, almost like a Super Troopers routine. It's like, sir, you're gonna have to pull over. It's like, I can't pull over.
Yes.
I get it. Like, that's the only way you can communicate between planes. And even the pilot was super just calm about like, oh, there's a fighter jet to my left. Hello, how are you? But this whole situation is just so odd to me because they're like, hey, you have to land or bad things will happen. And what they do to warn them even further is shoot the fucking plane. They could have knocked it.
Shot.
Bullshit. It was like 20 rounds.
It was like fucking 20 rounds to the cargo hold. Who knows what's in there?
And let's say they were right. Well, they were, and it was arms and something like explosives and stuff. They could have went up like a Roman candle.
What if, there were fucking Kalashnikov kids just chilling in there and they just sprayed 20 kids?
What if there were grenades and one of those bullets hit a grenade?
Well, there were.
There were fucking grenades in there. For real, though.
It's true. I think one kid was like even juggling a bunch while he was walking away.
He's like, yeah, take some for your friends. Go ahead.
Fire sale. Fire sale.
So he has to set the plane down at the local airport. But he's like, fuck that. If we do that, we're busted. Set it down on that road. You can do it, Alexi. Alexi, you're the shit. You're the shit,
Alexi.
For more of that fucking awful Nick Cage acting.
Just pumping him up.
Bill Murray internally, Alexi is not the shit.
See, now I can't even just think of anything in this movie without Bill Murray possibly just being in it.
I know!
Murray and BillyWitchDoctor.com. But he pulls a fucking Denzel, but instead of landing in a river, he fucking puts it down on a dirt road.
Yeah, he's like, put it down on the highway. And when he said that, I was imagining like a fucking highway, not a clay dirt road filled with pedestrians.
And at that very moment, Chandler checked his privilege.
Evidently, yeah. I'm checking my privilege as a white American. You might even call me a cracker. Speaking of crackers...
You really want to lead in with that?
Do I? I don't know. Do I?
That was an honest question.
I mean, I really just want to open this beer. What I've got today from Cigar City Brewing Company, Florida Cracker. It is, what the hell is this? It's a Belgian-style white ale brewed with coriander and orange peel. It's pretty much their version of like Blue Moon or Hoegaarden or one of those beers. Ooh, let's see how it is. Is it what?
Ukrainian. No.
Yeah, no, it's definitely that. Definitely just a Belgian white ale. I mean, it's a good one, no doubt. Good bit of citrus flavor. You get that sort of weedy creaminess. Little bit of spice. Pretty much on par with like Hoegaarden or it's definitely not as Fruity Pebbles as Blue Moon or any of those guys.
I feel like you use that as an insult.
Oh yeah. If you go full on Fruity Pebbles, like let's say Leinenkugel's Sunset Wheat, no, I'm into that. But Blue Moon, the way Blue Moon does it, it's just a little bit artificial.
I get that, yeah. Like it doesn't quite taste like Blue Moon anyways, it doesn't quite taste like actual orange in there. It almost feels tastes kind of rindy. And that's usually what you get with like artificial citrus stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like you took a beer, just like a regular, like let's say a PBR or something, and you poured a package of Skittles in it. But no, Florida Cracker, Cigar City, pretty on par with, I'd say, Hoegaarden, or honestly, probably what it compares most to is Great Lakes Holy Moses. Fairly comparable to that. Both very solid.
Sounds pretty good to me. Actually, that actually sounds like right up my alley.
Well, maybe I'll save one for you.
Appreciate you, man.
You want to get back into this?
Well, if you can make that brew disappear, then these locals can make all the guns, and the plane its fucking self disappear.
Samples, free samples, tell your friends I've got bullets, guns, and grenades. Take it all, one time only, get your samples.
Man, that guy with the curly mustache and a top hat knows business.
He fucking offloads everything. Ethan Hawke shows up. He's like, I know you're a bad guy, but you got away with it again.
Like, I know what you're doing because there's a single bullet laying here in the sand.
In Africa.
But, yeah, he's like, why are you here? And he's like, I'm on safari. Like, he's definitely not even trying to play it off. He's like, what's the charge? Hunting without a permit? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. You'll never put me in that cage.
Then this dude's like, I got a big knife. Can I make him disappear? People disappear here all the time. And at this point in the movie, I paused it. And I looked at the runtime I had left. I was like, God damn, there's 55 more minutes.
I know!
I thought you were going to be like, record scratch? Man, bet you're wondering how I got here.
No, I was just like, there's fucking another hour of this movie? Shit. Like, it's not that it's bad. It was just... It could have been Lord of War 1 and 2, and I would have been just as happy.
War harder.
Yeah. Lord of War 2. The Return of Bilbo.
But pretty much he gets handcuffed right there in the middle of the Sahel. Is that what it is? They're in, like, West Africa. And he's like, you know, we don't have anything to charge you, but we can hold you for 24 hours. And he's just like, all right, well, bye now. All right, we're going to leave you right there.
He sits there for 24 hours as locals pick apart the plane in a scene that reminds you of like a bug cleaning a carcass. It's actually really fucking cool.
It is a cool scene. But he's sitting there with like handcuffs behind his back.
Doesn't move.
How's he going to piss? I
mean, at this point, he probably just goes where he is. I mean, they have to take him regardless. He just gets smelly on purpose, just to spite Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. Do they have to take him? I think they can just like, all right, you're free to go. Well, where the fuck am I going? My plane's gone.
Well, he stands back up and walks towards the Jeep as they roll back. He didn't get out.
Yeah, they drop him off back at his hotel.
Well, that was nice of them.
2-star hotel.
You know, it's like an Interpol Uber pole.
I just fucking realized who Ethan Hawke looks like, and I'm pissed about it. He looks like fucking Mark McGrath.
Oh!
Oh my god.
Man, that's why he was up in that airplane. I just want to fly.
And at that moment, we realized Chandler's drunk.
So, they get back to the hotel room, and there's this cool, like, top-down view, and there's a lot of really important things going on. I am currently redecorating my house, and the only thing that I could focus on was this badass turtle shell design rug on the floor. I was like, man, that's a badass fucking rug.
I didn't even notice that.
Yo, IKEA, get at us.
At IKEA, don't at me.
Baptiste is waiting on him, and this is another one of those like plot points that I missed. Like, I don't know how he knows what he knows, but he's like, I got Bilbo tied up. I know he's your enemy. You know, he's bearing the One Ring, Sauron. Let's do this together, me and you. And he goes, I know you want to do it, So let's do it because he did bad things to you, right? Blah blah blah. And he starts saying all these things that Nick Cage told us, the viewer, but never told Baptiste.
Yeah, I mean, this whole scene right here just makes zero sense in the context of its own material. Not only would he have no idea, but he's like trying to be his best friend, but he's also an evil dictator. And he's like, I bought you a present. It's a person that you can kill. Haha. Okay.
Like I said, it's like some Last King of Scotland shit.
Man, I
like,
wish
you
I got...
guys know what I'm talking about. Have you seen that movie?
Nope.
Damn. All right, y'all need to go watch that. It's pretty good. But yeah, that's what I keep
I've seen this one, and it's like it. So that's good enough.
That's fair.
So Nick Cage commits tandem murder.
Now they're just murder buddies.
You are being charged with half a murder. The other guy, he'll be charged with the other half.
Like, which part? The murder or the dir?
Let's move on.
But Nick Cage has to go drown his sorrows, and regular cocaine's not going to cut it. He's got to mix that cocaine with his own gunpowder, and it's called brown. But rule number 1, don't get high on your own supply.
That is his supply of gunpowder, so...
You know, just take one for the team, and then meander around town while you're followed by hyenas, whatever.
So this made me chuckle. He's high as fuck. He has awkward, soccer scene. He gets an AIDS whoopsie. There is a murder attempt on his life where the gun misfires, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry. The gun shouldn't be messing up. I sold that to y'all. Let me fix it."
Oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't usually do that. Oh,
try again. And he
let me
puts
fix it. Yeah, that scene's definitely that's a Bill Murray scene.
The thing that can kind of akin this whole thing to is that whole "I'm a vampire" scene from Vampire's Kiss.
A vampire.
Instead of him dragging around some leg of a chair, it's an AK-47.
So there he is, and suddenly there's 2 hyenas looking at him, and they're sniffing him, and he's like, "Are they gonna eat me?" But they ain't gonna eat him because they smell that he's AIDS infested.
You think that's it? You think hyenas can smell AIDS? If they could, you think they'd stay in Africa?
Well, no.
They're gonna hop on a plane, Chandler?
I mean, maybe. That's how snakes got around.
Was on this motherfucking plane.
The next thing we know after that, we've got Valentine going to fucking. I just keep wanting to call him Bill Murray. That's not fucking Bill Murray. That's Nick Cage. They're not the same person at all. Going to Nick Cage's wife, Eva, and he's like, "I was hoping you could help me with something. It turns out your husband is this, huge arms dealer, and, let's try and arrest him."
Well, he tries to get her on his side.
How did he become such high-level Interpol with that bullshit kind of rhetoric or whatever? He walked in with zero evidence, just the newspaper clipping of her parents dying.
Look at it!
You make that voice, I am still just imagining fucking Jim Carrey from the Cable Guy. The porno password is penis.
Oh. But he's like, morality chat. She's like, "I can't wear these clothes. I can't do nothing." She goes, "Why do you do this? Is it for the money?" He goes, "No, I do it because I'm good at it."
And
so
I'm in the money.
I don't sell these things to do harm. I sell people a way to defend themselves. Nothing illegal. I swear. Everything is totally legal and totally cool.
He just jumps right back into jacket over the shoulder Nick Cage talking down to her.
Yeah. "I never misfired one gun. Not once. Not one time." Fucking. So he pretends to be a good guy for 6 months while, all of a sudden Senor Blood Diamond shows up wanting the fucking Rambo gun.
Yeah, Eve is like the president of Liberia is on his way up. And I think she's expecting, this is unusual, and Bill Murray's just like, "Oh, he's early."
Yeah, caught him mid-breakfast or something crazy. But this whole... Another scene that just kind of makes it feels kind of disjointed because, business is business or business, but it's so weird to see this like African dictator just like walk cleanly through New York and up to this guy's apartment. It's like, hey man, remember that whole shtick we had before? Kind of need your help again. Wink.
Man, you know what we should do? Coming to America.
But with BillyWitchDoctor.com. Now, this is something that comes up here in just a second. He leaves because he's like, oh man, I'm going to become a bad guy again. I really got to get these guns because I really want these blood diamonds, blah, blah, blah. He can spot literally a helicopter tailing him. He can spot Interpol coming a mile away, but he can't tell when his fucking wife is following him down the road.
Man, that was annoying. A little bit, because there was even like a throwaway line later on. A little bit of narration where it's like, the cops followed me, Interpol followed me, but I didn't expect my wife to follow me. I'm like, what the fuck? If you're so just mindful of people being behind you, why didn't you look behind you this time around?
And in between all this, we have Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley. Perfect.
This whole time, we skipped over, it's unimportant though, he's got like this shipping cargo container full of all of his, misdeed stuff. And I was fucking literally, like, when I watched this way back, I didn't think anything of it because I wasn't critiquing the film. I was just watching it. But going back and, critiquing it, the lock he is using to protect all of his most valuable, most incriminating secrets is the same one that you would put on your shit in your high school locker.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I was like, the fuck? He's got a rotational combination lock. I use that at the Y, and I'm afraid people will still break it off.
Yeah, I mean, like, he has this, like, ballistic man cave just parked under the Brooklyn Bridge, just randomly. And apparently it's been kind of like safe for, 15 years at this point? Like, nobody's touched it, ever?
Like, in junior high, I didn't think that was good enough to protect my fucking Pokemon cards.
Nick Cage hauling his holographics in there.
She's all like, I can't do this anymore. But Nick Cage is busy, going and seeing now clean Yuri. And just like, not Yuri, fucking Jared Leto's character. And now he's like, no, I don't want to. I'm clean. I got a wife. I love her. I think she's the one. Everything's aces for me.
And in my mind, I'm like, he's going to die. He's next.
They did that.
There's no way you're going to survive this movie.
3 times they did that in this fucking movie. Like, oh, here's this character, blah, 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 blah. I'm the luckiest man alive. Dead. Something else is going on. I guess everything's looking good. Dead. I'm so happy. Dead.
And this time it makes the least amount of sense, character-wise, because the dictator guy's like, no, you have to sell to my friends to the west, yada, yada. And they get there, and suddenly he has this huge change of heart, because they realize that if they sell these arms to these people, they're going to massacre this entire country.
That's the fucking point.
Well, the thing is, like 16 hours ago, it's like, no, I don't want to because I have my whole life ahead of me, and none of that trickles into his brain at that moment. He's like, I'm just going to give up everything and even my life just to be a dickhead right now.
Yeah, to change nothing. He knew that even if he completely disrupts this fucking deal, it's still going to happen.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to destroy half of these guns. What you do with the other half, I guess you're probably still gonna massacre, like, fucking everyone here, so...
Well, I mean, he went there to sell guns. I guess he didn't realize that they already had guns.
And so, he's like, oh man, this deal's going south, I don't like it. And he goes and gets a fucking grenade, and, Baptiste Jr.'s like, I don't think so. But somehow Jared Leto's quick with a crowbar and fucking cracks it in the face, throws a grenade inside the thing, the truck, blows up half the goods, takes off running, gets gunned down. Nick Cage is like, no! And he tries to blow himself up. Nick Cage takes the grenade, puts the pin back in it, gives it to the guy because that's part of the profit. Yeah. And the dude takes half the diamonds, doesn't shoot Nick Cage, just takes half the payment. # evil fails. Like, what the fuck?
Because there's only like half the guns there, so only half the deal.
Shoot Nick Cage, like he just caused so many problems.
Honor among thieves. I don't know.
That kind of cuts down on maybe future deals that he could. I mean, you might need more guns in the future.
Doesn't get mad that he blew up his fucking son.
Well, I mean, he still needs Nick Cage for all his wild connections. I mean, we see later on he's all connected all the way to like the Department of Defense and stuff like that.
Because he's like sitting there with his box of Leto, waiting to go home.
Jared Leto, the only thing he managed to do was get his brother arrested.
Yeah, that's it.
To be fair, that wasn't. No, I'm not going to say that wasn't his fault. That was totally his fault. But the doctor in wherever it was, Monrovia, Liberia, or Sierra Leone, whatever it was supposed to take out all of the bullets. You think he purposely left just one little bullet in there, just so when it went through customs, they'd be like, "Hey, did that look like a bullet? I think that's a bullet."
And the inconvenient ATF officer just comes up, it's like, "Hey, I already have my badge out. Can you come with me?"
Sure thing. I guess it's not about the alcohol or tobacco, is it? Meh.
They all have a laugh and credits roll.
But if only. Nope. There's fucking Ethan Hawke. I got you now. Look at the newspaper. Look, I got you. You're a one-man genocide. You're done. And
Man,
then
that's a good band name.
One man genocide.
and then it's really cool because Nick Cage goes, "Hey man, enjoy it while you can." Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna spend a second in a courtroom. Here's what's gonna happen. Someone's gonna knock on that door. You're gonna open it up, and someone who outranked you is gonna give you a bunch of compliments, hell, maybe even a promotion. And then I'll be released. I rub shoulders with more than the vilest, and the president don't want his fingerprints on these guns. And he's like, knock knock at the fucking door. G.I. Joe.
And then fucking Ethan Hawke looks like he's gonna cry right there because he knows that Nick Cage is right about all of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Nick Cage is at that point. You hear him say Nick Cage's family has disowned him. They wouldn't even like pick up his call. His wife and kid has left him. His brother's dead. He doesn't have anything else. So what does he do?
Well, like, Ethan Hawke tried to get back at him, said something like, "I tell you to go to hell, but you're already in it," and like scoffs away. I'm like, that's not good. That's not really good.
Shut up. Shut up.
Like, the whole time I was thinking, is like, you better go get that fucking door. They're not gonna knock again.
Yeah, you better go, you little bitch boy. Fucking Nick Cage goes back to work. And then me and you, Eric, had a bunch of different conversations about this ending line, so I'm gonna let you take it. It's wonderful.
It's like this movie is bookended by like two really poignant monologues from Nick Cage, and after this whole movie, almost like a Catch Me If You Can with guns. Nick Cage is like, "Hey, listen, the ticket to survival is never go to war, especially with yourself." And then the camera just kind of like floats away.
Yeah, right back in that same, fucking hold on.
Oh my god, it's just like Ron Perlman saying, War never changes."
Jeez.
And just like that, the movie wraps, and so does this. That was Lord or War.
Honestly, I really liked it. The dialogue in it is honestly about the best that I could expect from a Nick Cage movie. It's no, that's not meant like I've been comparing it this whole time to a Wes Anderson film, and Wes Anderson has some of the fucking best dialogue that's ever been featured in film. That's what I compare this to, except if it was up to me, this would be a little bit more of a dark comedy. But I fucking liked it.
I'm a big fan of the way a lot of this gets done, but I'm also like a huge, but it's a huge detraction, the way that so much of this film gets delivered to you by Jared Leto's character and by Nicolas Cage at certain moments. I'm a gun guy, so the gun porn in this fucking movie is great. There's fucking amazing scenes where, you know, he's shooting an AK and it's like boom, 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 and you get the sound of the action, the clack, 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 that suddenly changes into cha-ching, 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 and it's like, fuck yes, they have so much of this film done right. So I gotta say, I'd watch it again. I just wish the runtime was a little chopped off.
Like, I too really like this movie. It's not a movie that I would want to return to anytime soon. It's not bad. I didn't even feel like it was exceptionally long. I just, you know, it hit like a good point, had like a good spot, and I'm satisfied with it. That's about it, you know? Like, don't watch it for crazy Nick Cage. That's not in there. You watch it because it's basically a bad guy being bad and getting away with it.
Yeah, like Nick Cage is seen as the protagonist of this movie, but he's not in any way, shape, or form a good guy.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where through the entire movie, like, I want this guy to get away with it. Like, he just comes off as the guy who's just like, he doesn't really deserve getting away with it, but he's so cunning. Like, I'm just like, he put in the work, just let him have it.
Yeah, it's something else that really got me with this is he tries to like what's the word here? He's his negotiation skills. He reminded me of like I can't remember his name, but the dude who's sitting there is like Hans, Booby.
Oh, Hans, Booby.
Yeah, he
pal.
delivers so much of the lines like that guy.
He too was just like an 80s coked out of his mind maniac.
Yeah.
I sure wish I was an 80s coked out of my mind maniac.
Never too late to do the right thing now.
There's still the 2080s, I guess.
Dang. Cyber coke. On that note, if anybody has any opinion on the movie or this cast, by all means, leave it in the comments below.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you tap that little bell icon too, so you know next time we got another one of these brewing.
Make sure you get out there and you follow us on all of our different social media accounts. We got that Instagram, that Facebook, and of course a Twitter. If not, maybe, just maybe, we'll have more than one convenient locations, not in Africa.
I am so fucking retarded.
No, say it faster.
Lose meaning.